Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? What you are about to witness is real.
This is not a dream, but a new beginning.
Stand by for uplink.
The Don Handston Show, straight up.
Thank you.
GPS uplink now completed with Google Earth. Commencing the official countdown in 3, 2, 1.
And now your hosts, Don and Sal.
We have a brand new approval rating for President Trump, which we'll get to in a minute, and some other headlines that are happening this week. This is Straight Up, the Don Handston Show. Welcome, everybody, along with Marcel, our producer. And Don, how you doing?
Good morning, Sal. I'm doing great. I'm doing great today.
We have a few things to talk about this morning. I know we had discussed previously in other shows about, the last show we discussed about the SNAP dilemma, which Robert Kennedy Jr. was discussing, taking away certain items that cannot be purchased for people who receive SNAP. But Don, you had some information that you wanted to add to the story and for us to discuss.
Yeah. So I got an email from a good friend of mine that is disabled. Mm-hmm. And he said he liked the show, but he didn't like the content. And I said, well, what was it about the content that you didn't like? And he said, well, I know you guys like, Musk and Trump, and I don't like those guys. And I said, well, why don't you like those guys? And he told me, he said, well, he goes, I got, before Doji got involved, I got a $200 benefit on that card for food, right? And since Doji got involved, he said that his stipend was cut down to $120. So I don't know what percentage off that is, if it's a 40 or 45% cut on his. And so I had talked to him, and I said, hey, listen, I'm not all about one person or another. Okay, I do love Trump. I think Musk is doing a great job. I said, but the problem is that the wrong people get the money. The wrong people are the ones that wind up with the money, and the people that actually deserve these benefits are the ones that don't. And so it was an interesting perspective of him. But I also was thinking, they throw you crumbs, right? The people that are really taking the big money are taking the big money, and then they just, even $200, okay? $200 is not much compared to what these people have been stealing, okay? Correct. They're giving crumbs to this guy, okay? Even at the $200, okay? And then they're going to cut that. I mean, at the end of the day, if the wrong people are getting, and I explained to him, I said, sometimes they have to cut some of these things, and it's a blanket cut, and they don't exactly know everyone that's getting cut. So there's people that really get affected by this that shouldn't be affected by it, and it's really too bad. And I said, but at the end of the day, when they throw those crumbs out, that's how they get their followers. That's how they get people that vote for them. Is they give them the crumbs, but they're behind the scenes stealing hundreds of millions of dollars, and you get $200 and now it's cut down to $120. So it was a very eye-opening conversation, and I felt really bad about it. Because we are so pro-Trump and pro-Musk, and I believe that they're good guys. And I explained to them, I said, sometimes they don't realize that some of these agencies that they're shutting down, I mean, of course, there's tons of corrupt people that work for them, but there's some good people that are losing jobs. So I understand that. And that's kind of how, unfortunately, it's got to go. But unfortunately, the wrong people are the ones that wind up getting punished. And I think it's the same thing in all of these things that are going on. So, anyways, that's the information I got.
So then the payment that goes out every month used to be $200, and now it's been reduced to $120.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I have not heard that. I believe it. And I'm not a big proponent of these blanket things, like just fire everybody, get rid of everybody. That also applies to a topic we're going to talk about in a little bit, the January 6th pardons. I think, first of all, $120, even $220 is not a lot of money per month, considering the money and the waste that the government has done over the last several years, if not even longer. And I'm a little surprised that that happened. And I am also pro-Trump and Musk on the whole Doge thing and, get out with the wasteful spending. But I also think that everything needs to be handled on an individual case, basis. So, I'm all for trying to be healthier. I get that. That ends up costing the taxpayers money in the long run, like we discussed in the last show. But I don't understand a blanket cut across the board. I think it needs to be done individually and see what's going on. Like these people receiving emails, name 5 things you did this week to keep your job. I didn't really have a problem with that. I know a lot of people did. If you're working and you're busy and you're doing your job, anybody who gets that email should be like, hey, no problem. I'm going to write down even more things that I take care of or that I'm responsible for. So I get your point. I don't think it's a wise thing to do, just a blanket, let's cut everybody. Everything needs to be looked at individually. That's just my opinion on it. How do you feel about that?
Here's my take on that, though. I mean, they got in this country, this world is upside down. Okay, they got 4 years to try and figure out how to get some shit really rocking in the correct direction. Do they have time for every individual case? I mean, I don't know how many millions of people are here in the United States, so I would say no. But I think that at some degree that has to be attended to more on an individual basis. And I'll be honest with you, the people that got cut money that shouldn't have been cut, okay, I think it's just like these people that got fired for the no COVID shots, right? They get retroactive payments. Yes. I mean, if he got cut $80 out of 200 a month, okay, and he has to fill some kind of affidavit out or whatnot, then not only should get his original 200, but he should get retroactive the $80 per month that he was shorted. So, I mean, it's really minuscule as far as money goes. I mean, when you think about the trillions of dollars that these numbnuts have stolen from our system. Yeah. So, I mean, I think maybe some sort of affidavit that people fill out, to show that you don't have 9 social security numbers and, 27 kids per wife and, all this other nonsense, whatever's going on where they collect all this money, all this, or dead people are collecting money or whatever they're doing. But the thing is that the correct people should have an avenue to get what's right.
Yeah, I think things need to be looked at individually and, take a look at what they're doing. Certain departments, like whatever this department is considered with SNAP and, helping some people out that need the help, that needs to be looked at instead of just going in and wiping everything out or just saying, we're going to do a cut of $80 across the board. I don't agree with that either. Yeah. And I think we should stay on that story and see what happens with that. I know I'm going to look into that too and see why that got reduced and if there's a chance of that going back up after they figure out what they did. Mm-hmm. But it kind of segues into January 6th that we've talked about before with the pardons. I was having a conversation with someone who was under the impression that the blanket pardons were not a good thing for January 6th. And I have to say, I kind of agree with that. I think each case should have been taken individually, looked at to see who did what, how much time have you served, and whether you deserve a pardon or not. What's your take on that?
Well, okay, my take on it's different than yours because as I was talking to Marcel earlier this morning, and the Republican Party has, they've done this common sense, this logical thinking, kind of, like displayed truth, right? And on the opposite side, you got the Democratic Party that has done nothing but lies, not, like completely insane ideas and bills and laws and all this other stuff and how they interpret the law. So it's kind of like the boy that cried wolf, okay? The left could now tell the truth about something and nobody would ever believe it. Now the right could also do the opposite, right? The right, the Republican Party could actually, throw a white lie out there, maybe not give all the details, but people would believe it because they consistently they've been more or less truthful with what they're doing and transparent. So, as far as the January 6th thing goes, I'm kind of, I kind of feel like those people were unjustly thrown in jail. Was there anybody that did wrongdoings? I'm sure there was, but I think to the most part, those people were there to protest that they didn't agree with the election results, which I didn't agree with, and I don't think anybody with any sense agreed with. But the thing is I think that was all set up. Okay, so they were basically escorted in there, okay, and whatever. So I know you told me last night when we talked that somebody shit on Nancy Pelosi's desk, and I said, you know what? I'll be honest with you. Even if I wasn't there to cause problems, if I got in there, I'd probably take a shit on her desk. I mean, like, but is that something that I should go to jail for? Maybe. But how long do you go to jail for relieving yourself
A
on
lot of them
someone's
were in
desk?
for almost 4 years.
There's murderers that aren't in
Right.
jail that long, okay?
Right.
So do I think they should be pardoned? I think they should be pardoned, okay? The people that killed Ashley Babbitt, okay? Those people, they didn't even get charged, okay?
That
They
guy got
killed
promoted.
somebody.
He got promoted.
And they got promoted, okay?
Yeah.
So you're going to put somebody in jail. Let's say the guy shit on her desk, okay? But the guy that killed the woman, right, shot her in cold blood, he got promoted, okay? So I'm on the opposite side of it. I know that you're about what's right is right, and I am too, but it's gone too far. And the whole thing was played out when they came out with that January 6th, what they call it, insurrection bullshit. I heard it at 6 o'clock in the morning when I got up. I didn't even have a sip of coffee, and I go, that was set up. I wasn't even awake, and they're not getting that one by me. And I'm like, this is so ridiculous. And so I actually did turn on the news to see what the hell was what they were saying. And I'm like, this is such a big bunch of bullshit. But anyways, doesn't matter what my perspective is. What matters is if those people did any time was served, and they served more time than a lot of people that committed homicide. So there you have it.
Yeah, I know there was talk of FBI officials who were sent there to invite people in, to bring them in. So it's almost like they were promoting this chaos. I agree to some extent with that, but I still think everything should be looked at on an individual basis. Now, for defecating on a congresswoman's desk, not right, not good, but 4 years, no way. I could see a heavy fine, but it also depends on your criminal history as well, which is how our courts work. A lot of punishment that's dealt out by these judges, anytime criminal, they always look at your criminal record if you have one. So I agree, 4 years. And I understand why Trump did it, because a lot of those people didn't do anything that were violent, and they have been behind bars for 4 years. And I know that they grabbed a lot of people afterwards by grabbing the cell tower records for triangulation to see what cell numbers pinged. Then they looked up those people and went to their houses with arrest warrants and arrested them. I've seen the videos on that.
Horrible.
So just because you're there, which in my opinion, I wouldn't have been there. That's just me. But just because you're there standing outside holding a sign doesn't mean then they're going to try to track down your cell phone number and bring you in and charge you. And that's what the Biden administration did.
You go in the opposite direction, right? The BLM crap, right? Yeah. Places are burning. People are getting, I don't even know what the hell was going on. So much bad stuff. And not only did the people not get arrested and did they not check cell towers, okay? If people got arrested, the state's attorneys would go in there and release these people without bond. I mean, so it's so opposite side of the spectrum that it's absolutely ridiculous that these people spent 4 years in jail, right. and the left is saying, oh, they shouldn't be let go so easily. Where people were burning down buildings and creating all kinds. I mean, they were blowing up police cars, all kinds of shit. And not only did these people not get arrested, but the few that did get arrested got released, no bond. So you know what? I'm not buying any of it. It's all a bunch of nonsense. It goes again with my brainwashed, hypnotized through the media theory. And so they're against it. They're against Trump. They're against anything that's for Trump, anyone that's for Trump, which they're finding out is a lot more of the majority than they originally thought, because the media portrayed that the majority of people were for the left. And if you're out and about and you're talking to people, you're realizing that it's it's much smaller than what I even thought. I was like, I can't imagine anybody voting for that. And I do talk to a lot of people, and there's a lot smaller group than what I even thought that are on the side of the left, because it's not, there's no common sense. It's absolute nonsense.
Well, and you had a lot of organizations bonding those BLM riot people out, and part of that, one of the groups was presidential candidate Kamala Harris. She was part of that also at the time. So it definitely is a double standard, and we talked about that before. I feel there's a big double standard in there with the riots and the J6 pardons and everything else that took place. But maybe we'll have to bring that up again in another show.
Yeah,
and discuss it.
I mean, there's so much corruption, so much nonsense. Are you done on that subject? Because
go
I
ahead.
want to
We're
bring
done.
up something else.
Yeah.
I read something this morning, and I don't know if it's true. I'd have to actually see the words come out of his mouth. But the article had mentioned that Donald Trump was talking about running for a third term in 2028, and it said that he was saying that it's not impossible that the Constitution could be changed. Now, I read that, and I'll be honest with you, I love Donald Trump. I think he's awesome, but if he really, in fact, did say that, okay, that makes me not like him, or that makes me wonder what that's all about. Because here's the thing. Number one, if he did do that, okay, we've been beefing about the left changing the Constitution, but they really haven't changed it. They just didn't follow it, okay?
Right.
Now, if he's talking about changing the Constitution, what that does is that it sets a precedent, right? And you know the left, how corrupt they are. I mean, there'll be no Constitution left if it starts getting changed, number one. Number two, we need term limits. We don't want people to stay in forever, okay? And you need a change of hands so things can change, okay? Hopefully it's one of his predecessors that I believe in, but and then the other thing is, if in fact that did happen and he did run in 2028, I think that a lot of people would look at that and say, you know what? That's like tyranny. We're gonna vote. We're gonna vote left, no matter who's going. You know, even if it's one of these people that are despicable human beings, they're gonna vote for that, and because they're not gonna want people to just all of a sudden, step in and change the Constitution. So, getting back to it, I don't know that he said that, and I hope to God he didn't say that, because if he did, and even if he was thinking about that, he should not be talking about that.
I agree. In the news, they are saying that he wasn't joking about it, that he was talking about it. But they have to change, because the 22nd Amendment stated specifically, because Roosevelt had more than 2 terms as president, but they changed it in 1951 so that no person can run for a third term. So he would have to definitely change that. But I agree with you. I don't think it's a good idea. He's got Vance there. He's got other people that can come up. So I don't think it's a good idea, because if you open that up, Don, if you say, well, now you could run for a third term, you know what that means, right? We're going to have Obama run again, possibly Biden. The Biden said last weekend that they want to get back into politics.
So let's just say he did it, right? Let's just say he did it, and let's just say somehow they kept Biden alive, or they pretended he was alive like he did in the last term. And now they changed the Constitution, and the Constitution now says Biden is the president for the rest of your life, okay? Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, he's like 300 years old. Is he really still alive? And yeah, here's a picture of him. He's back in the basement. And like, they could do whatever they want. So we cannot start changing constitutions, okay? Constitution's Constitution. I think if things run out like they should, and I'm hoping Vance runs for president in 28, and I'm hoping that Ramaswamy comes in for vice president, and he's a great elect, a possible one for after Vance is done. So I mean, that's not just my thoughts. I don't really know, but I just think that they have enough good people that they could run this country well, where they don't need to be trying to change the Constitution. Because even a guy like me, I'm all about logic. I'm all about common sense. I'm all about the right thing, and I don't agree with that. I don't agree with you start changing the Constitution. No, the Constitution was written for a reason.
I agree also with you. I don't think it's a good idea. Plus, also you got Ron DeSantis, who might want to run in a few years or a few more terms. He would also be a good one.
Right.
But yeah, I know Roosevelt was the last one to do it, and I don't see this being changed. I would have a feeling that probably a couple Republicans would vote against it. But I don't know. Something we'll have to keep an eye on. But he did state, at least to the AP, which I don't know how much I trust the AP, but he did state that he wasn't joking, and it's something that he would definitely look into. So, but if you think the left is going crazy now, something like that starts to go, all hell is going to break loose. I guarantee you that.
Unbelievable. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I'm going to see.
I also, I teased at the last show that we were going to discuss the whole texting fiasco with the Signal app. There are still no updates. I know Tulsi Gabbard and all of them testified in front of the House last week. I haven't heard anything finalized on that. Haven't heard any update on the no tax on tips. I know we talked about that. And also no update on the MS-13 leader that was grabbed in Virginia last week. As far as I know, that's still going through. So no updates on any of that information that we talked about. Do you have something else, Don, that you wanted to bring up?
Yeah. Let me see if we can do...
And I will tell the people while you're getting that together that the new approval rating came out this morning. Trump is now at 50%. So he kind of went from 44% to 50%. So his numbers are definitely going up. Will they continue? We'll have to see. Stay tuned.
Okay, so what I have is it's going to be interesting, and people may or may not understand, my point, because I don't know if where our listeners are located, but I'm in Chicago, Chicagoland area. I'm over here by O'Hare Airport, and I got a place up in Wisconsin. I go up there, and I went up there when they shut the state down. They shut the state down. They said and nobody can leave the state of Illinois during coronavirus. Okay, and I went up there. I mean, there's nobody wearing masks. You go to a bar, you go to a restaurant. It was normal. People were normal. Okay. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm going to just spend all my time up here. I don't even want to be back in Illinois because it's like complete communism over there. They're trying to control where you can go, what you can do, who you can see, vax cards, all this stuff. So anyways, what had happened during that time was a lot of the people from here that like in the city, because it's a sanctuary city, a lot of those property values went down because they let the crime, dictate those areas. Okay, so a lot of people, even though they sold their homes for less than probably what they were worth before they decided to let everything go to shit, they sold these homes, and it was worth a lot more money than the homes in Wisconsin. So they were overpaying for homes. So a lot of these people with these politics were going up there, and they were bringing their politics with them. Anyways, so, so I was pumping gas yesterday. I was up there yesterday. I was riding my bike and in the woods. It was beautiful up there. And I stopped to get gas on the way home, and there's a sticker. And the sticker is on the gas pump, and it says, like a good neighbor, keep your bad policies over there. And then it says AFP. I'm not sure what that organization is. And it's got a picture of Wisconsin, which is above Illinois, and a picture of Illinois below it.
It's the Americans for Prosperity.
And it shows Wisconsin as red, and it shows Illinois as blue, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was like, I agree with that because it's more common sense up here, and people aren't, gonna run around because Joe Biden says you can't breathe the air in a different state or whatever the hell was going on during all of that stuff. So I was looking at this and I was like, number one, I think the governor of Wisconsin is Democrat. So I looked it up, and sure enough, he is. Okay, and but it was really funny because they don't want these people to come up. What happens with a lot of these areas that get contaminated is these people, they ruin these areas, whether it's sanctuary cities or states or whatever, and then the economy gets so bad or the crime gets so bad that they want to go somewhere where it's good, where the budget's balanced and there's not crime and everything else. And in Wisconsin, they're a little bit above and beyond with crime, right? I mean, you could probably get caught smoking pot and you probably go to jail. Where here in Chicago, you could probably kill 3 people and you're not going to jail. Anyways, so it's the opposite. It's completely opposite. But anyways, what was funny about that sticker was I was like, wow, these are on gas pumps, right? And I was talking to a family member that's up there that builds homes, and they said, these people are bringing these politics up here, and we don't like it. And they said, we're kind of we've allowed it to happen. They said we actually build homes for some of these people that we shouldn't. So it's kind of our fault because we're chasing the money. We're building for people that we shouldn't be building for because we're bringing people in that are bringing their politics with them. And so what's interesting about this sticker and this whole mindset and everything else is it's almost like if people want bad policies, if people want like crime and they want unbalanced budgets, they want bankruptcies within their states, then they kind of should stay in those states. And people that don't, they should stay in those states. But the thing is that I believe that when they bring these politics with them, they bring all these bad policies with them, which deteriorate those areas as well. So anyways, I'm trying to see if Marcel can put up a screenshot of that sticker.
Yeah, if he could put that up on the website, that would be great. And when I looked it up, it's Americans for Prosperity for Wisconsin, and they have like some key priorities that they're trying to get done. One of them is a flat tax rate. They're trying to get that done in Wisconsin. Also, they want to fund students, not the system. They don't want to limit a student's education based on your zip code. Also, they're looking for reform in healthcare, giving the people the choice to pick who their healthcare providers should be, not being told who to do it. And there's a few other things. So that was just a quick little brush up I seen about that sticker on there. So very interesting. Maybe that's something you could stay on to see how they go. But they do have a big election coming up tomorrow, actually.
I'm interested to hear if you have a perspective on this.
Well, based on what I just seen, excuse me, they're looking to probably provide less government control, which I'm for, and I think a lot of the Republicans are for, obviously. The Democrats say that they want less government, but actually they want more government. And
they want regulation.
More regulation. And that's been proven in the last 4 months. So it looks like this AFP out of Wisconsin is trying to fight a lot of the problems that Illinois has, and they don't want to have it there. That's why I think that sticker says that, because, like the flat tax rate, healthcare decisions, stuff like that, and the children's education. So far, what I've seen on that, and I'll have to do a deeper dive into that. Maybe we could on a next show coming up. So far, I don't disagree with any of the things that they put as their priorities on their website. But if Marcel could put that sticker up so people could look at that and see, I think it's quite entertaining because I had seen it myself after you sent it to me, Don. It was pretty good. I know we got a few more minutes left, Don, before the show. It just goes by quick when you have a lot to talk about. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up before we close this out?
Especially when I'm babbling because my lips never shut. I just think that we need to really kind of back ourselves out of that snow globe and look and see what's going on inside and understand what's good for us, what's bad for us. I know I sound kind of harsh when it comes to people that vote for the left side. I just see way too much corruption, way too much deception. There, like we talked about in the other show, there's no respect. There's no I don't know. I don't see any good things that it's coming out of the left side, and I think that we really need to back out and look at it and decide what's good and what's bad for us. And even some of the stuff that is good for us, we have to look at both sides of it. Like we had talked about, I love Trump, but yet I was talking to somebody and they were telling me about their benefits getting cut. And I like to hear the truth. The bottom line is the truth. The only way you know what the truth is if you get out there and you talk to people and you live your life.
And you listen to really good podcasts like this one on a weekly basis, of course.
Absolutely.
Before we wrap up, I just want to say in the next show, some of the things that we're following is, I know Oliver Stone, the famous director from the movie JFK, is going to be set to testify in front of the House panel over the JFK files that were released and more are coming, I believe. Also, there is a deadline of April 5th for TikTok. We're going to talk about that, what Trump has to say, and a certain organization that seems to be the leader in purchasing or going in partners with ByteDance. Also, we have an update on that wonderful Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who made that derogatory statement toward Governor Abbott out of Texas. There's a possibility of her being charged and or sued, and we can get into that in the next show. But I want to thank everybody for joining us today. This is Straight Up, the Don Handston Show. Check out our website, donhanstonshow.com. Also, check out our YouTube page. We're on Spotify, Facebook as well, Don Handston Show. Make sure you check out our Facebook page. Definitely don't forget to check out our website, though, because we put a lot of little extra stuff in there, like that sticker that Don was mentioning today, so you can take a look at it. And once again, you can join us on Apple Podcasts. Hit the subscribe button. Let us know if you disagree with us. You can send us an email. There should be a link right on our website. Let us know whether you agree or disagree. Actually, I'm more interested in people that disagree with our comments. I'd like to know what you think. Let us know if we're wrong. And hit that subscribe button and the bell so you're made aware of when we post new shows. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time here on Straight Up, the Don Handston Show.